You know, we all have that one special dog hanging out on the porch. He's just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. All these things you like coming together to make one superb dog. That was exactly what we had in mind when we made this show. Welcome to All Mixed Up. It is a horrible 111 day right now, Chad.
Wow.
Horrible.
111? I wouldn't want to know what to do with that.
I clock in.
It's windy, but it's not very hot.
Well, I hate the wind too, but I think I'll take the wind over this. I clocked in early this morning. That's why I got late to the podcast today, because that heat just made me move slow. And I was racing all morning to try to beat the heat. And then I realized there was no way I was going to finish before it got horrible. And it was 111 outside. The sand in the place I was working, which is like dune land, the sand was 139. And I was,
wow. So the heat's coming up off the ground even more than it's coming down from the top, huh?
The air, the wind, the breeze feels like you're in an oven. And when people are like, but it's a dry heat, I get it, but you got to experience 111 before you think, even if it's a dry heat, it doesn't matter. I wear a 28-inch sombrero, and even still, it was just horrible, man. Horrible. I hate the summer here.
Right. I've always had some thoughts about the dry heat, wet heat thing, because, I grew up in Florida and then lived for a long time in Louisiana and Texas and the Northeast and everything, where humidity is crazy, like Northeast Louisiana, one of the most hot and equally humid places that I've ever been. And what I've always thought was it was absolutely miserable in the heat, but as soon as you cooled off, you were fine, whereas like the dry heat, I'm doing air quotes here, was like a little, like not quite as horrible actively in it, but heck, there was a day I dug a bunch of post holes and I was hungover for like 2 days.
Yeah,
I felt like I was back in the army, partying it up. I've never been hungover like that, and I didn't even touch a beer. Not one. Didn't even look at nothing. It was just digging post holes. I couldn't drink enough water, and then I flushed all my electrolytes out. It was a nightmare. So
you sweat, and it just dries off you instantaneously. Like I was dry as a bone. There was no sweat on my body except maybe under my armpits, and I was just chugging my water like all day. And one of the reasons it took so long is we had some new students from the Midwest with us, and it's their first time in the desert. And
how many died?
I know, right? Seriously. one of them, he was like, man, the desert is so lifeless. And I was like, man, if you go out at night, there's animals everywhere. Like you see all these like thousands of footprints in the sand. Where do you think those came from?
Yeah.
And there's one animal that comes out during the day, the spotted ground squirrel. And its main defense is to come out in the middle of the day when it's like 1,000 degrees outside, because there is nothing else active at that time. And I'm like, what a survival strategy. You're like a 5-inch long squirrel that comes out when the ground is 130 degrees and you're like running around. Anyway, yeah, man, they're a badass little animal, and I envy that.
That's clever. That's clever. Anything that's going to chase me is going to stroke out.
Exactly. That's their whole plan. I look up, not a hawk, not an animal, nowhere to be seen except them running around. So anyway, there's your weird animal lesson of the day from the desert.
Yep.
We got a diverse show today, buddy. We're gonna bring it back to our segment roots, I guess would be the word. So we got a couple good segments coming up today for All Mixed Up. And I'm also going to bring up my trip to Canada, buddy. Can you believe it's already been almost a month? Time flies.
What, since you've gone?
Yeah, I got back on. Oh, wait. No, it's only been 3 weeks. Well, that's almost a month.
Yeah, that's almost
2.5 weeks. Yeah.
All right.
Time. Whatever.
Yeah, it does things. It does things that time.
Yeah, well, yeah, look how ugly you've gotten.
Yeah. It's been rough, man. It's been rough. I'm cooked.
We got some segments coming up, you guys. We're gonna review some gear. Me and Chad, we're gonna review some gear that we can. We've put a lot of miles on some gear, and we're gonna review some stuff coming up. We're also going to bring up our new segment, you guys. You guys remember some of our old segments from All Mixed Up in the beginning? We're going to bring up a new segment called Keep or Cull. We're going to give you scenarios, and you're going to decide, would you keep it or would you cull it? And then we're going to talk about my trip to Canada. So nice. I say, Chad, let's just roll right into it. Let's review some gear, buddy. All right. For this month, I'm going to review some gear that we all use, that we all live by, hopefully never die by. Boots, Chad. Boots.
Yeah, that's almost like dog food, man. There's a million different directions to go with them things.
I live in boots, and I have had many different opinions on boots as time has progressed, and my body has changed, and the way I use boots has changed. Why don't you start us off? What do you wear now? Why? And give me some good reviews on the boots that you love right now, because I want to break it down. I'm going to review snake boots in particular.
All right.
But tell me what you're wearing.
Well, right now I'm kind of in between. I've crested my arc in the pair of boots that I've wear, and I'm actually starting to sniff around for something new. But I still got a pretty good review on that. I hunt with a lot of buddies that are like diehard upland hunters and houndsmen, and they don't have an off season, and they live in these things. It's what they wear every day. And a lot of them will recommend the high dollar Crispies or Danners or all these, and they will consume them. They go through them. They say that's just part of it. Like these things are light, they're lightweight, they have good grip. And either desert boots or the ones that are waterproof. And so those are kind of the way I'm sniffing towards. But as of right now, something I hear everybody say that there's a type of boot that never lasts. There's no boots that'll last. And that's wrong. I mean, I wear a pair of the traditional Red Wings, like the old school Red Wings that you could actually have serviced, so like when your sole starts to wear off, you send them back to Red Wing or drop it off at a store or wherever, and they'll actually cut your sole off, glue a new one on there, replace your stitches, take your grommets out and your little ties, and they do all that for like $100, and you get basically a brand new boot. Yeah, I dig it. And what I do, I used to work for Pipeline back in the day, and they give us an allowance for boots, and I get a new pair every year, whether I needed them or not. And it got to the point where I had like 5 or 6 pairs of boots. And every year I would take a pair and I'd mail them off to get resold. And I just keep doing those, And so the idea of a boot not lasting forever is silly if you get the ones that are just glued together. Those may be incredible. They're far lighter than mine. And I can go into what makes them better all day. But if you just simply say, I hate having to buy a new pair, you can get them resold if you get a traditional style leather boot, and like I said, the Red Wings are the ones I worked with. Steel toes. I like to be able to kick stuff, and never have to worry about my toes. And that's something that's gotten the hang of me, because I have become so accustomed to having steel toe on my boots. Yeah. And they've been getting heavy, and like I've been doing a lot of office work here recently inside the house, so I just have like these almost like little pull-on house dad shoes that I like shuffle around the house, and it's very emasculating, but they're simple. They work. Anyway, so I had to run out and kick at some things.
Some stuff.
Yeah, kick some stuff, and my toes broke. My big toes broke, and the one right next to it, purple broke.
What
like
are 3
weeks
kidding?
Are still purple, and it's still right now. I mean, if I could get my foot up here in front of the camera, you'd be able to see it. It's
good.
Purple. Yeah. So like that's something I'm not used to with the lighter boots, and up on the Chucker Hills, when a rock falls down, if it rolls across my toe, I don't even feel it. And I got a buddy that had that happen, and he's got some bursitis in his foot now.
Whoa.
And so he's trying to have that heal. So I don't know. There's no perfect answer in my opinion. But if I wanted for like a lightweight do good boat, I'd probably go with the Crispies personally. And that's probably the direction I'm going to go into. They are not cheap, however. But for the past, 15 years or so of my life, I've been in a varying degree of worn out Red Wings, the traditional steel toe, waterproof, everything type boot, and just resold them like every year or every other year. Yeah.
Describe the average climate that you're using those Red Wings in the most, because that matters a lot.
Yeah. A lot of snow and ice up here where I am now. Like where I live now, it kind of peaks out at about 90 degrees in the summer with a cool breeze, and so that's kind of nice. Unless the wind blows like 40 and then 50 even, and then it kind of gets obnoxious. But in the winter, from 0 to 10, pretty much, is like what our winter is,
and you wear those Red Wings year round.
Oh yeah, year round. When the snows come, I oil them down. They become waterproof, and they become more pliable. It's really nice. And in the summer, sometimes I may choose not to do that just so they breathe a little better. You'll get some more cracks in the leather that way. I know Red Wing or some others came out with this like breathable paste you can smear on there that's supposed to be the same as like an oil that allows for the boot to breathe better, and I've experimented with that some more. And it is better than the oil, but it doesn't make the leather as supple. But that's the climate. Now, if I come off my hill a little bit, it's in the hundreds, and if I go visit some of my buddies down in New Mexico or Arizona or over in Texas, they do pretty good there. But the waterproofing does get hot. The waterproofing does get hot, but I hate having wet feet. I'd rather like lose a finger rather than deal with wet feet, like stomping through a puddle or something. So I'll deal with the temperature of the waterproofing just to prevent from having, wet soles. But the problem with my boots is they are heavy. One of my Red Wing boots probably weigh what 2 Crispies weigh, and
Chad's just working on his calves and glutes for his wife.
Well, they are outstanding. I'm glad you noticed, no, but it can have an effect on your knees though. I'm not going to lie, like the 45-degree Chuckler Hills or running up during spring bear season up or down, they get heavy. They do get heavy, and when I came out here, I was a goofball. I was trying pull-ons, I was back in Louisiana and everything. I liked waterproof pull-ons, but like after like almost rolling my ankle on running on slick rock, like they got to
be lace up.
I moved into the lace ups, or just heck, flip flops would be better than the.
Hey, yeah, man, I live in sandals, bro.
I wouldn't choose that, but honestly, at this point, I think I'd probably roll or break my ankle more in a pair of pull-on boots over like a set of flip-flops.
Nobody wears pull-ons except for cowboy boots, and no one hunts or hikes in cowboy boots around here. You know what I mean?
Not on my hills. You ain't. Not in my opinion.
Free sand or anything of high like angle. No way. Pull-ons are not going to be good.
What was getting me, it was going up and down. It was like side hilling.
Yeah.
And I just rolled. I was like walking on the sidewalls, like the treads were going uphill, and I literally the soles of my feet were on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
Of my boot.
Exactly.
I was like, this is gonna kill me, and then I found the lace ups and moved on from there. But yeah, that's my main thing. I guess I'm trying to get away from is if you just really want an all around, and that's what I used to say. My wife would make fun of me. They're like, oh, they're heavy. Why? I was like, what if I have to man, baby? What if I have to drop kick a Sasquatch or something, man? Like,
what if I have to man?
What if I have to man? And that's no plug at the ladies, man. Like that was just me joking around. But
girls, it'll work on your calves and glutes. So wear heavy boots.
There you go. High heels.
You want to be like Chad?
Take a pick.
Yeah, you want to be like Chad.
Yeah, but my main takeaway was if you wanted a boot just all around, it's waterproof, it's durable, it's got the steel toes, so you could kick the heck out of a Sasquatch should you need to, you're ready to go, and they'll last forever. If they start to wear out, just get them resold, and sooner rather than later is better on that, because they just like literally cut the sole off the bottom and glue a brand new tread on there, and then pop out all the grommets and restitch any blowouts. And that's the other thing. Well, it ripped the stitches. So what? That's the bonus of leather, man. You cut it out and restitch it. They do it again. Yep. They've stitched mine like 10, 12 times. I had one pair. It's like, gosh, I think they were like 9 years old, like that's incredible,
Yeah.
So
that is badass.
That's an option. The con of those boots is they are heavy. Oh my gosh. I think we put them on the scale one time and they were heavier than 2 of my buddies' boot, left and right boot, plus my second buddy's right boot. We put 3 boots and they were as heavy as one of mine. So, so there's that, So that's what.
Well, there you go. the Red Wing Classic, man. I need to check them out. I have never actually worn a pair of Red Wings. I'm gonna break down the snake boot for everybody. First of all, look, people get weird about snake boots. Everyone assumes if you're wearing snake boots that you're some kind of like anti-snake scared weenie or whatever. You're just like, look, I'm going to tell you right now, pluses or minus to a snake boot, period. First of all, the reason I enjoy snake boots, I don't wear them all the time. There was a while for maybe 2 years that I wore them daily at my work, but I stopped, and I'll tell you why in the negatives and positives. This is a gear review for just snake boots in general.
Okay.
The reason I really like snake boots, and I continue to wear them to this day, is that if you put on an 18-inch snake boot that goes up to your knee, and you put your pants over the snake boots, you never get brush in your socks. And I freaking hate that. So if I'm working in places where it's like really brushy, cheatgrass, any kind of aristida that's in seed heads, any kind of annual bootaloos that are putting out those like stupid, annoying seed heads that stab into your socks and drill into your sock and stab you in the feet. That is why I like snake boots. Where are my South Texas people at? Where are my Southern New Mexico people at? All of the spiky, terrible. You want to talk about kicking stuff? You can kick a cactus, a prickly pear, head on with a pair of snake boots, and you just trample through it.
Yeah.
So I have gotten into the habit. You're talking about kicking stuff with your steel toes off. I wore my snake boots for so long that I got completely uninterested in looking at the ground and just walking. And then when I started wearing normal shoes again, I kicked so many cactuses, man. And so pros to them, the best thing about snake boots is not protection from snakes. It is protection from spiky brush and annoying grasses and seed heads. So if you're working in a place, check them out, because if you're working in a place that has any of those things, check them out. You'll be thankful. Here's one thing that I really do also like about them. There is a confidence when you're working in places that are infested with snakes. Obviously, that's a huge bonus as well. But also they keep creepy crawlies from running up your legs too. When I'm working with rodents and stuff like that, sometimes I like to wear them, and then you can put a rubber band around the boot, around your heel, because I've had rats run up my shoes, run up my legs. And that's not so fun to have a 300-gram wood rat, which is like a pack rat, run up your thigh and try to take refuge in your underwear. So that can help a lot. And it doesn't work so well when you don't have that shoe, that boot to like pant interface that you can put a rubber band around. So if we're my rodent taggers, you guys know what I'm talking about. Protect the jewels from the nasty rats. All right. So next,
I just have this image of you like slapping your pants, you know.
So
like,
that is exactly what happened, but not to me. A person on our rat team got a big, it looked like in a cartoon when you see like the bugs moving under the bed or something, you see the little lump. That was a lump shooting up his very hairy leg, so it had plenty of traction.
just squalling and like, you know,
he was just like, he just completely clamped onto his thigh above the rat, and you could see it just like running around his leg, like under his tightish pants, and this giant rat, and it shot out the bottom of his pants, but he was just frozen with his leg, like with his hand around his leg. Anyway, so that's a huge bonus. And I feel like if you're in a place with sharp brush or an abundance of snakes, just wear them. Now, here's a huge drawback, and this is what I don't understand about snake boots. I'm going to review 3 brands because I wore 3 different brands. Okay. I currently wear the Lacrosse Venom scent, you guys. And the reason I went with that is I think I've worn the Rocky snake boot, I've worn the Danner snake boot, and I wore the Lacrosse Venom scent snake boot. The Rocky boot has the most comfortable footbed. There's no question. What I don't like about the Rocky is, why is it insulated? I do not need an insulated snake boot. Snakes don't live in the Arctic. Why is it insulated? Snakes live in the desert. They live in hot places. Even waterproof is good. All those snake boots are waterproof. The Danner one was the least waterproof, and the Lacrosse one is completely uninsulated. Good, but waterproof. Exactly what I need. The Rocky boot had the most. I hiked many miles in all of these snake boots. And the Rocky one has the most comfortable bed, but it literally footbed, but it really feels like you're wearing an oven on your legs. And when they're 18 inches long, they go up to your knees. I'd pull those things off, and my legs would be soaking wet. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
So you talk about hating wet feet. Imagine if you had wet, sloshing feet from your own sweat. It's horrible.
Cut them off. Cut them off. Cut them off. I'll crawl.
Yeah, so
I'll crawl, man. I will stop, shut things down, and go get some socks.
Yes, it was awful. So I wore my Rockies for about 9 months until they kind of fell apart, and then I never bought them again, although they were very comfortable. Next up, the Danner snake boots. Look, this is what really bothered me about the Danner snake boots. Did they have a comfortable footbed? Yes. Were they robust? Sure. Too expensive, in my opinion, for what they were. Fell apart on me pretty quick, and I'm putting crazy miles on them. But also, man, lace up was a total pain. When you have a 16.5-inch boot, lacing those things up every day. They didn't have grommets. They had the like little hook things. So you had to like physically lace your strings around it every day. No, thank you. So I give the Danner boot not a thumbs completely down, but just kind of like a thumbs kind of down
to the side.
And then, to the side, yeah. And then I have the Lacrosse Venom Scent 2, and those are the best ones, you guys, in my opinion. Comfortable footbed, and they have a zipper on the side, so you can set your boot at the level you want of the tightness you want around your leg, and then you can unzip the side and pull your foot out like a pull-on boot.
Yeah,
genius. And it's not insulated, so it's the coolest of the three. So, in my opinion, and with rigorous many miles put on them, the Lacrosse Venom Scent 2, check it out, you guys. That's a nice boot. It really is a good boot. Now, I don't wear snake boots all the time at work anymore, and the reason is, and here's something that kind of, I don't know if it's just me or whatever, but when you walk a lot in snake boots, that you can't really bend at the ankle very well. And it starts to put tension on your knees over time. And I noticed that I was getting knee pain in like the front of my knees, my patellar tendon, more when I wore my snake boots, and my ankles got kind of weak over time. And so that's what ultimately drove me away from snake boots and back into what I call hiking boots, which are not high top boots. I wear they're like tennis shoes, but for hiking, where they have a cutout for your ankle. So good natural ankle flexion. And I got made fun of a lot in Canada because I brought my desert vented hiking boots up to Canada. It's all I had last year. And that is not the choice you want for the boreal forests of Canada, but for the bone dry desert of New Mexico, they're pretty ideal. I wear the Merrells, the Moab 3. So those are a great boot, comfortable, extremely light. You're like talking about your glutes and your calves, man. I have none because my boots weigh like an ounce. So,
right.
And then, so that's my opinion, you guys. If you're going to wear snake boots, I would recommend just don't wear them every day. Just wear them when you need them, and make sure you break them in. They will give you horrid blisters, as with any boot. And that's all I got for boots, brother.
I got something to throw in on that. I have I got a buddy that used to rock the big lace ups, and he actually he had a pretty neat idea. Now, he was a hog hunter, big old boy. And I don't know if he wants me to share everything, so I'm going to keep the name. But he would catch hogs, like he'd have one get loose and he'd grab a hold of the ears. And he used to wear snake boots, not only just because, kind of like for multiple reasons, kind of like you, not just for the snakes, but for the pigs and everything. And I've seen him do it, like if he had just told me or I didn't know him and I hear it, I'd be like, okay, shut up, tough guy, but I saw him bare hand both ears and then drive the hog's head down in between his legs, right? It down below his knee.
Yeah.
And the hog would just slam left and right up against his snake boots, and he'd be okay. Like you didn't worry about the tusk, you didn't worry about the biting or anything. Like, and he was a big boy, over 6 foot, like 250-pound kind of guy. And like I said, he'd catch both ears and stuff the head down, and he would just hold it like that till the catch dog come. And he had this unique way of like letting go of the ear that the catch dog was closest to as it came.
Oh my gosh! But you better get that timing right, or you're gonna have fingers missing.
But that was his thing. He'd bear down and just let him wear his ankles out. His calves, the inside of both of his calves, and he'd hold the muzzle right there, whatever, the maul, right there.
Yeah.
But what he would do in order to get in and out of him real quick, he would lace them up as tight as he wanted them on his foot and then tie a knot there. like right at the ankle, and then loosely lace them all the way up to the top and then tie another knot there. So as pull-ons, but like he said, like every month or so he'd have to retie those knots, because they'd get that or something. But like that way it was like a pull-on of sorts, even though it was a lace up, he tie that knot there in the ankle. So that's another tip.
That is a good idea if you have annoying lace-up boots. But yeah, that zipper on the side of those lacrosse boots is badass. So check. Yeah, that's a really great invention. So anyway, if you guys have questions about boots or you guys want to comment on boots, comment on the show, comment on this on social media, because I know there's a lot of people that have good boot ideas and have worn some pretty good boots, or they're like, Seth, the Rocky insulated boots is the best reason in the hot deserts of New Mexico for this reason. This is what you're missing, stupid. So I want to hear it. So, yeah.
Let the wars begin. There will be.
Oh, good.
Everybody's, good. It's like dog food to me, man. They'll. But I like you say, I can't wait. There's always more to learn. So
it's
tell us. What you
one
think?
Foot ahead of the other.
There you go. Cool, man. So, well, hey, how was I got to know how Canada was. I've been dying to hear about this. You're giving me little tidbits here and there. So, we don't want to burn the story before the show. So, folks, this is me hearing about it for the first time too. So, turn it loose, bro. Tell me about it.
Man, I freaking okay. When we talked about everyone knows these not gear reviews, these reviews of trips. It's like ETX Apocalypse, right? I was so pumped. That was a first time experience, and I get really excited to retell. This is actually my second time coming back from Canada. The people up there at Babine Guide Outfitters, and of course Freedom Hunters, which made this all possible for me. So obviously, humongous shout out to Freedom Hunters, sincerely. Right. The people up there at Babine Guide Outfitters are just world-class guides, and they just treated me like family, and it made that trip. The first time when I went there, I was just really ultra, respectful, putting a good foot forward, making sure I was helpful and everywhere I needed to be, and learning, absorbing. And after everyone got to know each other and we're all friends, the second time around, it felt a lot more like I was just, like a part of the family kind of. And so this trip, since everything wasn't crazy new to me, like I'd already kind of learned all the roads and kind of where we were and all the people, I was able to sit down and actually absorb and learn a lot more about bear hunting. And so obviously I have an insane amount to learn. But what felt really good was that I was able to kind of like see a situation happen and be like, well, instead of the first time being just completely clueless, I was weighing in options in my head. What should I do? Right. And then I would like listen to Lloyd, like say what he would do. And I was like, yeah, all right, cool. Like I had the right idea. You know what I mean? And I learned so much the first time that the second time around, I was able to not be so overwhelmed by all the crazy new stuff and just really, truly take in everything. Yeah. And I thought I became a much better observer of bear hunting the second time around than I did the first.
You weren't so worried about getting in the way. You knew what to do to stay out of the way and then lend whatever hand needed to be, which allowed you to just enjoy more of it, huh?
Exactly. Okay. Literally, cool. Exactly. Yeah. And so and this group of veterans this year was just really energetic, excited to see the hounds. And this year, everyone was battling to get a seat in the hound truck, and so that was really exciting too. And we had a hunter that Nate, shout out to Nate. He wanted to do it with the hounds. And so he was willing to try other methods, but he passed up on some bears that maybe others would have taken, that he was like, no, I really want to do it with the hounds. And so we hunted our tails off for 4 days and we finally got him a nice bear. And all that footage is going to be obviously available on the Patreon page and then the YouTube channel.
Nice.
So, yeah. Day one we got there and the weather was just, man. First of all, when it's 111 out here, I keep just dreaming about Canada. The highs were like 59 every day, and so, yeah, the nights were getting down to about 30. Mm-hmm. So big difference between where I am now and where I was there. And I still can't get over how it gets dark at 11:30, dude. Like that is so trippy. You can really
work myself out to death. What time did the sun come up?
It comes up at about 4:30.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's so crazy, man. You don't feel tired. Your body is just used to going sundown, getting tired. Well, it's still completely bright at 10 p.m. You're just like, man, I am ragged. Getting up at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m., and then going to bed at like midnight every night. And they hunt till 11. If you haven't got a bear, they're hunting. And you're out, the bears are active at dusk, and dusk is at freaking 10 o'clock at night. And so they're hunting every night. The guides are crazy, man. Those guys are beasts. And so that was something that I never get used to entirely. But it was just a blast. We saw tons of bears. It was so green. I went 2 weeks later this time than last year. So there was grass everywhere. And here's something that I experienced for the first time. Dude, the mosquitoes.
I've heard about them, man.
Oh my God, dude. You can't even. Okay. We were driving back. Okay. Let me set the scene. It is a beautiful, beautiful evening. We're rolling in the truck. It's a crisp 50 degrees out. We're hunting. We're looking for a bear. We're cruising these roads. We glass over these big hills, and that's how you spot and stalk in BC. So we're like driving along. It's gorgeous. I heard a loon call. It was amazing. And there was this gorgeous ground mist like across the ground and up on the trees. It was freaking beautiful. It was like something out of straight up Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, that ground mist is beautiful. And the guide goes, dude, those are mosquitoes. And I was like,
That's wild.
it was the worst, man. And we were just like, okay, at several times. Okay, the dogs are chasing a bear. We get out of the truck. We're looking at the race, and we're standing there looking at the drive track outside. And I look over at Lloyd. He's wearing a t-shirt, you guys, and the back of his neck has like 100 mosquitoes on it. And I'm like,
chilling?
he doesn't even care. He's just looking at the drive track. And I am wearing like I look like a straight up like Arab guy. I'm wearing like a full on hoodie, tight, like Kenny from South Park, where I have it like scrunched over my face, but just a little circle of my eyes is visible. And it's like, yeah, it's like 62 in the sun. So it wasn't burning hot, but I was pretty warm. And he's just standing there. I go, Lloyd, you got some mosquitoes on you. And he just swats the back of his neck, squashes like 50 of them, and his hand is just like pure blood.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh God.
They weren't drilling through your hoodie though, because I know I mean that sometimes, like every now and then, or what?
I would look at my arms, and it would. I was covered in mosquitoes, bro. Covered in mosquitoes, and I don't know. I didn't get bit that bad. The no-see-ums, however.
Yeah.
Oh man, first time I've ever experienced those too.
Oh really?
Oh my God, they're horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
They aren't as they got me on my legs mostly.
Yeah,
they'd go up my pants.
Boots ended.
Yes,
down a little bit. Yeah,
yeah, yep. And it wasn't too bad. They didn't like me as bad as the mosquitoes, but the mosquitoes were just like, I don't know. I think I would take the mosquitoes over the no-see-ums though, because at least I was covered up and the mosquitoes didn't really bother me that much. But one thing I saw that I felt so crazy about, there's some pictures of Gomer, the Karelian bear dog, laying on top of the dog box. And he's covered in hundreds of mosquitoes, but he's so furry that they can't really get to him.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what another great adaptation for that climate. He's so furry. He's like immune to mosquitoes. The hounds, the slick-haired hounds, were getting demolished by mosquitoes, man. I felt so bad for them. He's like, I gotta put more treatment on them. And I was like, but the Karelians, you don't. The Leica types, you don't. And anyway, I'll leave the mosquito topic alone. I hate mosquitoes. I live in a place where it has 0 mosquitoes. And so it's really hard to adjust to go from 0 to 100 billion of them, like all over your body at every second. And it's kind of annoying, but otherwise I'll leave the bugs out.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I had a great time. We treed 5 bears. It was incredible every time. You never get tired of walking up to a tree, man.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't have tree dogs, but damn, that is so fun to just hear them out there barking in the forest. They're treed. They had like a 2.5 hour race to get there, and you just hear that off in the distance, man. It's incredible. It's an amazing feeling. It's
Every
so
time
cool.
they stop for a second, you're like, oh. And then it starts up. Okay, good. It's still there. It's still there. You're like, walk a little faster, like.
Yeah. And it's so horrible walking through those woods, man. They got like Devil's Club and all these like stinging nettles and stuff. But in the more open places, we treat some bears in some really beautiful woods. And it is just so cool. They're like little homing beacons, those hounds. And it's just walking closer to the tree. Your energy increases. Their energy is increasing. Like, it is amazing. It is so fun. And to look up and see a bear, dude, there's a bear sitting there. Like, that is such a cool feeling. I love all the diversity of hunting with dogs. And obviously I have an incredible admiration for hares, but it's a bear in that tree, dude. It's a mountain lion. It's a bear. It's this big, powerful carnivore. There's something that's really cool about that. So it never got old. And of course, I'm totally smitten with the Lycas. The Karelian bear dog and the West Siberian Lyca, they are so awesome, man. And I never get tired of watching them hunt. It's just nothing I've ever seen before, and it's really cool. And he's got a new one, a little white one named Cedar, the cutest hunting dog I've ever seen in my entire life. She's like dude. If it's a sheep, it's like a sheep had a puppy with a dog. You know what I mean? Like, she's like this little puffball. If you shaved her down, I bet she looks like a coyote. You know what I mean? But yet she weighs like 20 pounds. But I mean, just a fireball of intensity, speed. And let me tell you a story. We went to this tree. So we had some epic races. We had one that was almost 10 hours. We had several trees where they were 3-hour races. Well, we treed one bear in about 20 seconds. And there was this bear on the side of the road. It wasn't a big bear. It was just like an average sized bear. And we let just Cedar out, this 20-pound Lyca, maybe 25-pound Lyca. She jumps out, rushes this bear with like everything she has. The bear runs maybe 50 yards and immediately trees. And it was just hilarious to watch her tree. Well, anyway, so the hounds, we cut in some of the hounds just because some of the guys that had never seen a tree. So we cut all the hounds in just to tree the bear and just so, you can get all the noise, the excitement, all that stuff. So the hounds are treeing. The bear is sitting up there. And the bear, this was badass, dude. I've never seen this before. I don't know if you have. The bear jumped from one tree to the other, dude. So it was like, I got it on film too. You'll see it at Patrons. It's like clamped onto the tree and the bear's coming down and we're like, hey. And the bear climbs back up the tree and then like the Matrix style jumps and like lands on another tree and grabs it like a squirrel and just like clamps onto that tree.
Never seen that before.
That was so badass. In the video, I'm like, he just jumped another tree. Like it was so crazy.
The tree, obviously, I don't care if the trees are like 1 foot away. That's still awesome. But was this a dense forest? Like, what are we talking? Like 3 feet?
No, he jumped probably about 5 feet across to another tree.
There you go. That's
it was
cool.
Sick. Yeah. So he was in that tree. And it was a small bear, right? So I was feeling my oats, you guys. Like that bear was coming down the tree and I like ran up to the tree, clapping my hands and yelling. And I was going to I don't know what I was going to do. If the bear came all the way down, I don't know if I was going to try punching the bear or, but like, I was not afraid of that bear. I was going to run up there and try to keep him up the tree. But me running up to the tree, clapping and yelling, he like ran right back up the tree again. And so we were like, okay, it's obviously not a shooter. We wanted to keep it treed in case it was, but it was not. And so obviously the hunter, Nate, was like, no way. And so, which we all agreed. And it was pretty funny, man. The bear was up there and all this green moss kept falling down. Like it started falling down. And then I realized the green moss was poop. And the bear was like,
yeah.
We were all laughing so hard because the hounds are treeing and just getting showered in bear crap.
Oh, they love it. That's great. It's like treeing a bear with party favors. It's like a piñata up there, They were like, yum, yum, yum. Yeah, they eat it, man. They love that, man.
It was so funny. And it was great to watch this cute little puffball just getting pooped all over. Oh, Cedar. So anyway, we okay, this bear wants to come out. So I'm like, all right, let's leash the dogs up. So I leash up Chappie and I leash up Willow. And Chappie is like imagine if a blue tick and Gandhi had a baby together.
I don't know if I can make that connection in my head, man. You're gonna have to help me with that.
Chappie is just like so Chappie looks like a Saluki blue tick. Like he's just a
Okay.
hard gainer.
Gotcha.
He just can't. Lloyd feeds him like a bunch. I saw him like every time. He's like, eat up, Chappie. You need the food. Like give him extra food. And man, Chappie's just a beanpole. He's a rake. I don't know. He's just a very thin dog, and he runs good. And he hunts hard. He's determined. But anyway, I had him, and then I had Willow, who's like a black and tan. She's built like a freaking rock. She's a beast. I have them both in one hand, and I'm trying to grab another dog, and the bear just is like, all right, I'm out of here. As soon as I pulled the hounds back away from the tree, like 5 feet.
Yeah.
Yes. He's like, here he comes. The little Leica cedar is under the tree, paws on the wood, jumping up in the air, barking at him. The bear comes down. The second he comes in reach, she jumps up and bites a bunch of hair out of his butt. And it's just like this bear jumps out of the tree, lands on the ground, and is running for its life from this 22-pound puffball that's right behind it. Just like, yeah. What made me laugh is like a 200-pound bear, ears pinned back, running with everything it has in terror from this like little Pomeranian looking thing that's just like needling him in the butt and flooring it through the woods behind this bear. And of course the hounds almost pull my arm out of my socket. But anyway, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen with like any kind of scent dog work. Watching this little tiny puppy puffball just like biting a bear, and that bear could turn around and just smashed her like a bug. And he was just like, I gotta get out of here, just running from this little thing. So anyway, I love the Leicas, their intensity and their speed. How they can run that fast through the forest is pretty amazing. And they hunt like it kind of dawned on me. I didn't know how to describe it until I saw the pig dogs. They do hunt like a puffball for a cur dog.
Is that right?
Yeah. They have like a hot nose. They're fast. And they only open when they see the bear.
Yeah.
And what a cool
looking at them, or just like the hind end too. They'll bark then too.
No,
because I know some people draw a distinction there. Like they like some folks don't want their dogs to bark unless the hog's looking at them. And other people are like, no, I want them to bark as soon as they can see the hind end. Like what were you finding with the like?
Oh, okay. I don't know if I can make that distinction, but I'm assuming when he's just looking at a bear, like in any way, shape, or form, because he was chasing the bear and I did hear him barking. So
there you go.
I'm assuming it's when he's like looking at the bear.
Yeah.
But the intensity and the style of the bark changes when the bear would stop and like look at him or bluff charge them, and they would like and like go quiet for a second when the bear's actually running at them, and then they turn around and just like nyah, nyah, nyah. And one of them, Gomer isn't really that bold anymore. He's kind of learned to keep his distance from a bear. But Cedar, we'll see. She's pretty gnarly. So,
that's cool. That's really cool. How big are they generally, weight wise? I know the poof probably adds like 4 inches to all sides, but like under all that fur, what do they weigh, you think?
I think Gomer's like 50 pounds at the most.
Okay, so a big dog then. They're not tiny.
Yeah, and I would really like to see what he looks like shaved all the way down.
Oh god,
they're so deceiving. They're plush.
Don't do that to him. Don't do that to him.
Yeah, Lloyd said, and that's another thing too. I love when people keep dogs for their climate. When I see a husky in southern New Mexico, I just am like, oh, poor thing. But that animal is absolutely at home in Canada. Lloyd says that thing will sleep on his doghouse in -20. Like he's just laying on top of his doghouse asleep, getting poured on with snow, and he's just like, this is great.
This
awesome.
is fantastic. Yeah.
And obviously the plush coat has its advantages. He's like, if you have to leave those hounds out, because that was something I thought about. And you guys, this is crazy wolf country. And they've shot one of the biggest wolves in British Columbia, 130-pound wolf. I have a picture of this thing. I'll show you. Dude, Chad, it's full body mounted. I literally could not stop looking at it. The skull of this wolf looks like a bear skull.
Like one of the size of my horses, man.
Dude, I am not hyperbolic about wolves. I am not, I don't like conflate them with like, wolves will eat your like entire livelihood and your 401k. You know what I mean? Like I'm being a total realist about this wolf right now. It was insanely intimidating. Like when I look at it, these paws were just enormous. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is like, Lloyd's like, if you got to leave these dogs out overnight in the woods, these Leicas are totally fine. Like they're just going to curl up under a log and go to bed. They're not going to freeze to death. Even if it gets down to like -50, they'll survive.
Yeah.
And that's a comforting feeling to know that like whatever happens, they're built to live here. And so, yeah, I think they have a lot more sense maybe to quit or call it when it's impossible, or maybe I don't know. That's just totally speculation. But the way their mind works, it's not as driven, as crazy focused as like a cold hound that may just keep grinding a trail. Maybe they'll just give up. I don't know, but I like them. They're very cool. And I think they add a great add on to any hound pack. So people that are running Leicas alone without hounds, that's badass too. But I think they're really rad with the combination of hounds.
Addition
together.
to.
Yes. You know me. I like to combine talents, though. That's kind of my favorite thing.
I'm a mix the pack, not the breed kind of guy myself.
Mhm.
You know? Like,
I think the Greyhound and the Saluki, or the Greyhound type, the speed type mixed with the Saluki is just devastating to hares.
Nice.
And so I really admire that when we have that kind of mentality of the driven, start the older trail of the hound and then pick up the speed and intensity like crazy when the bear has been jumped with these Leica types. And they'll run with the hounds the whole time. That's another thing. We turned Gomer out several times with the hounds in the beginning, and he would run along or get ahead of the hounds and trail the bear and get the bear jumped way ahead of the hounds. And then when he starts barking, the hounds would speed up. So I thought that was like a really cool addition. You know, when they hear him barking, they're like, whoa, yeah, let's go. And they would run down the track a little faster, which I thought was very neat and a powerful addition to the hound pack.
Yeah.
And, dude, he can make a bear tree. That's why I like those Karelians, those Leica types are like piranhas, man. They're like barracudas, like running around, and they really pressure the bear to climb. Much
like a
better.
terrier, would you say? Kind of like a big yag terrier, or...
with as little knowledge as I have in that arena, yes, because they're just like picking at their butt and running around and yapping, and just the hounds keep their distance and make a lot of volume, but those little guys have this like fast, choppy bark, and they're trying to pull your butt hairs out. And that's not comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they're so fast. They dart in. They're like ninjas, you know, they're quick. So anyway, that was really cool. I had an amazing time. I really can't say thank you enough to Freedom Hunters for making this opportunity possible for me. And coming up there, you guys, stay tuned on the Patreon page. There's even more content coming up. I posted hundreds of pictures and I'm making a video right now. It's not going to be as long as the first one because I really focused on just getting the tree footage, making hound hunting look easy, you know, but I have 2 interviews with 2 of the vets that were there, Dylan and Jason. And those will be on the Patreon page, you guys, as Tailgate Talks. But those 2 were, as always, Chad, and you know this too, they were totally blown away at how difficult hound hunting is.
Oh.
Everybody thinks it's going to be just drop the tailgate and they magically go tree a bear.
Yeah, just walk a quarter mile over to the tree, right?
Yeah, right. Nate's bear we shot was a mile in. And that sounds like an easy walk if it was in the forests of western New Mexico, but it's not such an easy walk in Canada or East Texas. A mile is a pretty hellish walk, honestly.
Right.
So anyway, yeah. And Nate, stick it to it. He was like, no, I don't want to talk. I'm not a talker. He gets real shy behind the mic, but he did tell me to tell everyone that the hound hunting really changed his life. And he was wanting to get into hounds, and he was blown away at how fun it is and how much skill and dedication it takes on the hunter's behalf to hunt with dogs, because he was also blown away at how difficult it is, So that's always fun to kind of bring people into the fold. We just made 3 like lifelong fans of this lifestyle, and that feels great too. That's the mission of Freedom Hunters right there, is changing lives through the outdoors. And I just feel really honored to be a part of that, you know?
I hear you.
So when are you going to get a set of Leicas? I think I actually texted you that when I was in Canada. I was like, Chad, you got to get a pair of these fluffy little monsters.
I'd love to try one, man, but I need another dog. Like, I need a hole in my head, man. I just got another puppy, you know, I would really like to see him hunt. You know, I think that would be really cool. I might not be able to hold myself back if I got to watch him go. You know?
What's one more, dude? Look, this is what my wife says, and she's the worst enabler in all of hound hunting wives. She says, once you get past 3, what does it matter?
It's you're kind of right. But then once you're bearing down on 20, you know, like,
yeah, true. Yeah. I just shot a goat.
15 range ain't so big deal, but once you get past 15, it could really, it could really be difficult.
Yes, I just shot a free goat, so I'll be feeding them goat meat for a while to save on food.
Oh, nice. What kind?
Yeah,
Just a wild goat, feral.
no, a cabra gratis, a free goat down in the valley. There was just on Craigslist, a guy, this old lady was like, she's just like, I don't want this goat, and so I called her and was like, I'll take that goat, and she's like, well, is he going to a good home? And I was like, yes,
Yes,
he's going to a great home, my home.
Yep.
And so, yep, I took him. He's an ugly, nasty Billy with nuts like a foot long. And you know what? The
His name
dogs,
Chad?
Yes. Did I mention he was hideous? But
Yes.
great glutes.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah. The dogs don't mind. They don't care about that Billy Funk one bit. They're happy. So yeah, that's something you would eat, you nasty boar hog eater.
Yep. I was gonna say, I bet you I haven't had that much goat. I've only kind of been to like one of those Mongolian grills where all the different types of meats are out there, and you kind of like throw whatever into the giant bucket. And I hate vegetables, so like I go through that thing and just pile dead animal on top of dead animal on top of dead animal, and I get down there to the end of the line and hand it to the chef. He kind of looks
just
like
at me.
I'm like, yeah, put some hot stuff on there, man, and get after it. Throw it on some rice. And like there's a chicken, there's a steak, and there's always some stuff in there because I throw some goat in there just because why not?
Yeah, why not?
So I think I like goat, man. I need to.
It's good. It's good. There's a traditional Mexican dish with goat called birria, and it's like a slow cooker, like a crock pot, slow simmered goats, like pulled goat, I guess. With like a yummy broth. And yeah, oh my God, my mouth is watering. Yeah, birria is incredible. And people make birria de res, like beef birria, but no, it's got to be made with goat, in my opinion. But right? Not that goat, because that's the boar hog of goat. And no, thank you. Yeah, I laugh when I think of Dan. He's like, Chad can keep those boar hogs. Yuck.
They're all right.
We're doing it. We're eating one. So anyway, yes, Canada was incredible, you guys. Stay tuned for the footage that's going to be on their patrons. I'm really happy to share that with you. It's going to be pretty long. We walked to a lot of trees, and we got some awesome footage from everybody else too. Some awesome footage of the shots themselves. Like one of the guys shot a bear with a 45-70 at like 10 yards. So that was, a high wall, a Remington Model 1, Model 3. I don't know. Old, one of the single digit model. And it was very cool. Very cool. He was a cool guy. Shout out to Dylan. You'll be hearing from him on the Patreon page, you guys. Tailgate Talk with Dylan. He's there, so go check it out. But anyway, yeah, a great time, Chad. It was
sounds like it.
It was incredible, man. Yeah. If you have any questions, buddy, now is the time. I kind of monologued there, but
let's see. How many dogs were you guys swapping out?
He only got 5, dude. He only had 5. Yeah, real small pack. And he starts down with 1 or 2 dogs. And he'll add in fresher dogs later in the day. Dude, there's so many bears. Yeah. Every single day we were seeing 10 bears, 5 plus bears, no problem. And so, we'd start a good bear. And I hunted with a guy named Gavin. Shout out to Gavin, man. You're a cool guy. I really got to know him real well. He's really cool. Young fella, great hunter. One of the best trackers I've ever seen. That guy could see a bear track it was incredible on like hard roads. So I learned a lot from him. He taught me a bunch about how to, see bear tracks better. But anyway, Gavin was very selective on what we'd put the dogs down on. And so they'd rig, we'd get out, we'd look at the tracks. He'd be like, nah. We'd drive down the road another 2 miles. They'd rig again. We'd get out and look. We did that all day, man. When I hunt with Lloyd, dogs rig, we get out, look at tracks. Let's send them. Dogs go. We have ourselves a race. They either tree the bear, or they get outrun. We pick them up. We let them rest for like 20 minutes, drive down the road. They rig again. Let's send them again. Right. So me and Lloyd were hunting dogs all day. And, Gavin had clients, so he had to be a little more protective of their energy. But when it was just me and Lloyd hunting for fun, man, we were sending them. So what we do is we'd send 2, let them start the trail. Willow is his best strike dog, best starter.
Yeah, track starter.
And totally a house dog. That's another thing too. I want to talk about that in a minute. She is a house dog. She's a straight up house pet, and he has like an incredible handle on her, and she's definitely his best starting dog. And so I'm going to ask you, do you think that has an option? Do you think that has a hand to play in it? We'll go there in a second. In her ability to be a great starter, obviously to have an awesome handle on her, that's no question. But do you think that having her being a family pet makes her a better, more confident start dog? Because that's something we talked about.
In my opinion, sorry, do you want to talk about it later?
No, let's do it. Let's do it right now. Screw it. Let's go.
All right. Well, in my opinion, like there's a lot of dogs that are Me Too dogs that when they join the pack, they could even get out in front and take things over. There's a lot of dogs that have a good enough nose and they have a good enough, they're confident enough and they want it. But for whatever reason, want other dogs there with them. There might be some part of their character that can stand in the way. Either they only want to go with another dog where you could like duct tape a hamster to their back and they could, they're like, I got a buddy. I can do this all on my own now, but the only thing I could say that, having a dog that is a house pet would help is the lines of communication. Everybody likes to talk about like what is the smartest dog, and everybody's knee-jerk reaction is like a border collie, and border collies are just good at communicating, like you can tell them all these different commands, they interpret them, they recall them better. They're good at communicating with the handler. They're bred to work in conjunction with the human, whereas the hounds, it's independent. Go out there. Now, I don't want to look at you. If I need to help you, you're doing something wrong, unless they're having trouble with the track and you're like trying to help them through some rock stuff. I do that a lot. So don't take that the wrong way. But for the most part, they're expected to do as much of it as they can on their own while I just try and keep up and keep them on the track should they make a loss. So a lot of times folks will say a hound dog's dumb just because they don't communicate. They're not dumb. They're just independent. They haven't been bred to take direction and to be dependent on direction, so that's a long way around, like a lot of prep to say the cool part about hunting with dogs that are house pets is they understand, and even a hound that does work independently from all that time spent in the house, they communicate better. So when you say no, right here, check, they're just, like they understand what you're saying a little bit better and they'll trust what you're saying a little bit better. So in my opinion, that's how it can happen. Am I saying all the best starting dogs are house pets? No, but each dog may have something standing in the way of being your best start dog. And having more ways to communicate with your dog so that it fully grasps what you're trying to tell it to do can help that out. So does that make sense?
That's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's, man. And it's kind of, as you were saying all that, it kind of dawned on me that like, you're right. I mean, when she got out of the box, she's hunting, running up and down. We're just standing there quietly. But if Lloyd wanted to be like, smell this footprint right here, he would like call her over and be like, hey, sniff this. And she'd run right over, give it a sniff and either open or not and like move on. I think I totally agree with you. It's the ability of having that line of communication with her because she's so close to you and so used to how you communicate that I think made her an effective, because you're right. I don't think it has anything to do with her ability to start and run a track. I just feel like maybe it helps her stay focused or have that line. They just
understand, when you say something, because I didn't want to imply that, a kennel dog, can't go out there and you say over here, because mine do. I got some kennel dogs, that live out there 24/7. Sure. And I can say, hey, over here, hey dogs, and they'll come over and like start sniffing around at my feet and take off. So it's not to say that they can't, but like, it's almost like some dogs can start, maybe your house, the one that you keep in the house gets off a little bit and it comes running back and you say, the dogs are barking, you get it. And it's like, okay, I know what you mean, there's just more understanding. And with that connection, you could maybe hurdle some more.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. That's cool. You hit the nail on the head in my very limited experience. I think that sounds exactly right to me. And it's funny too, because Lloyd's wife loves that dog too. And I'm like, man, she's been bitten by a bear like 4 times. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, she's been totally chomped by a bear. She's got some bear scars on her body. And I'm like, ooh, that's a dicey house pet.
You got some white hairs on the hind end there,
a little bit, and she was healing from a pretty good bite.
Going gray in the butt,
Yeah. She's a sweet dog though. So anyway, that was something I really I admired so much. I'm going to just be straight up, and this is a blanket statement, not just for bear hunters. I love when people have a good handle on their dogs, dude. I mean, it just makes everything better. And when you're hunting, to me, when you have that, they don't have to be a fur baby. Let's be real here. Okay. I just mean that, like, when you let your dogs out, they know the drill, and you're there, you call them, they come, or whatever. When you have a handle on a dog, it just makes hunting so much better, and you just got to put the time into it.
I actually have one more point too that is a prime example, and I'll zip through it real quick, but it kind of encapsulates what we're trying to say here. For example, I have a buddy that keeps his inside the house. He had one, the rest of them are kennel dog, and he keeps one inside the house. And what's really neat to watch him is I had a bunch of puppies, and then he called, like, hey, let your puppies go. Let's get the puppy starter on this. And then, we had already, succeeded at what we wanted to that day. So let's try and give some puppies some experience. So the pups came down, and he's trying to get them on the track. They hit the track, and they go the wrong way. They go, down the track or up the track rather than down the track. And nothing I could do short of blasting them to get them back, So we went and got his out. And then because he had this firm line of communication with the dog, he can call it and say, no, don't worry about them. They're wrong. This way, and got her walking in the right direction on the track. And then, like, you could almost see her like, are you sure? She hears all these puppies raising heck going the other way. And he could basically tell this dog, no, ignore them. Go this way. Yeah. And then she took off on the track, and then I cut my puppies off, picked them up, brought them back, got them in behind her, and off they went. But like that's something
perfect example.
That you can have with the dog that you have good communication with. No. They don't know what they're doing. Those barking dogs are bad. Start this in your own way, going this way,
Perfect.
And again, some people could get that with a kennel dog too, but I think you're going to catch that more often with one that you do have, know. And then devil's advocate for that. Sometimes if you baby them too much, then they become handler dependent, So there's the opposite end of that spectrum too. But if it's a good hunting
I've been
dog,
told that. Yeah.
If it's a good hunting dog, it's a good hunting dog. You don't have to worry about that, So anyway, I'll hush about that. But
no, that's a beautiful point, and that's what I've heard too. Is like there's people in the sighthound community that have been like, hey, if you let those dogs in the house, they may not be a serious hunting dog. And luckily, that has not been at all the case. All 4 of mine will absolutely abandon me in 1 second when they see a jackrabbit. So That's really important. I'm glad that's the case, because I do enjoy them chilling on the bed and like hanging out and on the couch and stuff. So anyway, that's just I really want to pick your brain about that. And let me ask you another thing. How often do you see a walking bay?
It happens. The big boys, generally the big ones is what I see. And then those are fun because it's cool to watch, to watch your dogs work a bear on the ground. But those are generally the more confident ones,
Do you think that's common, or do you think it's not very common?
Well, it's all common on how many big bear you got, in my opinion, So I listen for that.
Every time the dogs would get slow on the GPS and they'd be opening, I was like, oh, please let it be a walking bay.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen one yet. And Lloyd
it's still
said
hard to move
common.
in on, though. Gosh, it'll gas you out trying to catch up to those sometimes.
Yeah.
But I listen for that. Like when I hear people talk about, oh, every time I go out there, I get a walking bay. I'm like, oh, like to me, it's the tiny little ones that run like Kenyans, they just take off. Marathon runners that'll run all day, those, to me, it's the smaller ones that like to run all day, and the big, confident, like I don't have to run from nothing, I'm like, awesome. Where were you? Can I get a, like where exactly,
drop a pin on X. I'll be right there. Yeah.
So yeah, it's as common as the big bears are, down by me, a lot of the outfitters chew them up. So I don't, it happens, last year we had a great one. And I got a video I could share at some point, like they were guests. We finally called them off, and one of my good dogs, Rebar, was just so tired. You kind of walked over to the tracking and I was like, nah, come back here. And he smelled it. Boo! It was this long, lilting, whimpering howl, I was like, yeah, bud, you're done, man. You're going to stroke out. Come back here,
Yeah, but, man.
So it happens.
Yeah, I still would love to come in on a ground bay too. Apparently they're crazy exciting. And Lloyd had tons of videos of them, but all our bears treed. So, I mean, which is ideal. But man, I wanted to sneak in on a ground bay like crazy.
Yeah. Or even the walking bays are fun, Like if you can get up to a road and run in there and see, just run in there fast enough and then kneel down and hold your breath, like, because a lot of times if they hear you, they're just going to turn and walk the other direction, but so run in there and you're like, like, so the dogs come by and, so, and
that would be awesome. Yeah. Lloyd had some videos of that too, of hunters shooting a walking bay as it crossed the road. And of course, the hounds and the Lycas are right behind it, just raising hell. And you're just like, oh. But anyway, I guess I got to keep going back, huh? Go back to Bearadise. That's all there is to it.
More bears. Always more bears.
Yeah, and yeah. What do you think your ideal number of bear pack is? That's you, man. I took 1,000 years to answer that question. Lloyd has 5 dogs. He usually only turns out 2 or 3 at a time. Very small pack, which he likes. What do you like, Chad?
It depends, man. I like if you're doing it right. You got 2 puppies you're training, in my opinion. Again, everybody's got their own way.
Yeah, it's an opinion. Sure.
Yeah, and my opinion is I got my, my track starter, my best dog, and whatever dog I'm trying to make a track starter, and I'll turn him loose with that, made dog. And sometimes I'll have like my best dog that I start, and then I'll have like my other 3 that I'm trying to get there, and I'll swap out whoever that second dog is, depending on the day or who has more energy or how the paws are doing or whatever, So I generally like 4 dogs, at least one of them being, the best I got, and the other 3 being something that I'd be proud to turn loose of anywhere. Good dogs, not helpers. It's a Me Too dog. This is a help dog. No. If I don't think they can do it on their own, I don't really want to mess with that. It doesn't mean that they're as good as my best one. It's just that if my best one wasn't around, I'd still be confident putting them down on a track. Right. And so that's 4 dogs and then 2 puppies. Always 2 puppies. Every year you got to be starting 2 puppies, man. In my opinion, you got to start new ones every single year or you'll get stuck, And so that's what I like. And then, a lot of times with bear, that's kind of a communal thing for me. I like my lion hunting by myself. Not that I don't like other people, but a lot of times in the deep snow, sometimes too many dogs will kick snow in the tracks. Again, Chad's opinion, they can get in the way, so my lion hunting, it can get crowded. But my bear hunting, you can turn as many loose as you want. They don't really get in each other's way too much,
Yeah, I would love to see a big pack, just the noise and the mayhem.
It'll rattle the fillings out of your head when they're a mile away. The whole side of the mountain sounds like it's going to come down. I like big packs too, But for me, if I'm going to load the truck, 6 is what I like. That's what I like. 4 good ones and 2 pups,
Nice.
And then haggis don't count for nothing. My Dryhar, he don't.
Yes, he
count,
does.
Well, yes, what I'm saying is he doesn't count as a dog. He's a buddy. He rides in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
So he never counts towards that 6, whether I have him or I don't have him or anything like that. That's
what does he do? What do you think he does? Does he just help tree? Do you think he pressures a bear?
He kind of does what as long as it's not too hot. Because I'll be honest, he doesn't. They don't tolerate the heat too much. They got that really thick skin. They're made for swimming, breaking ice, doing duck retrieves and stuff like that. They're very cold oriented dogs. I mean, even like during the breed test, they stand him up and they're like looking at the hairs on his belly to make sure he's encapsulated in hair like an otter. Like if a drod is like has like a lightly haired belly, they can go from anywhere to having like a fault to like, to like being unbreedable if they don't have enough hair on their stomach,
True.
So, and their skin is super thick. If you like grab a hound's hair, like right on their, like meat right on their neck and pinch it, that there's, it folds over and it's super thick. Well, that's kind of how a draught is on his entire body, which does great. Yeah. I mean, which is great for cold, protection. And then like all the brush and everything like that, but as a downfall, they get hot real easy. So as long as it's not too hot, he will win them. He will rig them with the hounds, and there's even been times when it's only been him, like he got hurt or burnt out and I had him in the truck and we got close enough to it and he'll rig all on his own, but what I like that he does is kind of what you were saying about the Lycas. Like when they're cold trailing them and I like, it's so dry out here. I need nose down, cold trailing dogs, dryland dogs is what I need. So I like them to take their time and be methodical, and I have a few hounds that run fast, but he's quick. That's his thing. When they get close and they got him up and running and going, you'll see how I guess outpace them, and get up behind him. And then he's almost too gritty. Almost.
Almost.
he likes to dance on that line. So like he's going to slow it or spin it or just drive it up or, something like that. So he'll run with them and you'll have his nose down the whole time. But like when it gets hot, you start to see him pull ahead. I won't say he has as much endurance as your best hounds, but he can run.
Kind of hard to beat them. I mean, they're unreal.
And anybody that says that, like, oh yeah, my dog's never been bred for running a bear all day, but I know he'll do it if they need. They're either ignorant or lying, one of the two. Like the Hounds have got that wrapped up tight. But if it's not too long of a race, and he's still got that drive, he'll dust them. So sometimes I will use him specifically for that. I always like to put him down because I like to see him track. But if I'm really smart, I'll save him, until they get it going and dump him to it. Because then
so that was common for Lloyd too. He would hold the Lycas back until the race was heating up or the bear was jumped, and then send the Lycas in, and they will just race up to the front
and they'll cut. Like even if you dump them on the track, they'll cut the corner to get to the barking.
Definitely.
And then overtake the track, get way out ahead, and put it up. And that's kind of. That's how I should use them, if I'm not being selfish, because I like going truck to tree. I turn him out with my track starters, and that's what really makes me feel good.
With Gomer, we turned him out several times at the very beginning of the race, and he ran the entire 2 hours with the Hounds, and he was there the whole time. And at other times, the bear would run across the road and send him, and like that little furry monster would jump out and zoom, and then within 20 seconds you hear yep, 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 and you're like, yes. So,
but if it were to be textbook, like you're saying, like what's the best use? Save them. Wait till they get it going, and then put that little demon, that little fast track and nose up dog go. That. I
like how you call him little. He's a freaking beast. He's a big stocky dog.
It smells wonderful too.
Oh my God, he smells so good. Hey, what's the biggest pack you've ever seen Sighthounds run? Then I'm gonna let that go. But what's the biggest pack you've hunted with Sighthounds for hares?
Oh, I think I saw somebody run 12.
Yeah. Wow, that's got me beat. Well, the most I've ever run before was 6. We had 3 pups and 3 adults. And that was crazy. Like, I don't recommend it, but 12. I'm assuming with the 12, there was a huge age range in there.
Oh yeah. It was the fella's whole yard,
Yeah. Which I've seen that too in videos where people have like 15-year-olds and like 5-month-old puppies, and they have big packs of like 10 or more out there. And it's like, who cares? Do you even count them? You know what I mean? It's just
not to me. I'm not saying I would never do it. Like if like,
work I
had
would
me pinned down and I couldn't go, and then finally got out there. I'm like, everybody's going. We're going to just go cheat.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's go get one,
Yeah.
So I get it. But I do that, but at the same time, like,
my name is Seth Hall, and I support that message. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you got a whole yard and you got a huge age range and you're just going out to pleasure hunt, screw it, bring them all.
Get them. Yeah.
But if I'm running pro dogs and I'm trying to do it, like hunting for real or whatever, what I quote, I'm air quoting
bring the
here.
best out of your dogs too.
Yeah. I would say 3 or 4 at the most. You know what I mean? I think 2 and 3 is the best races, but 2 or 3 dogs is the best in my opinion. But sometimes you can ease up to 4 if you just want to bring your whole yard, which is what I'm doing right now. But if I have injuries, but anyway, I've seen 6 before. I've seen 5 good dogs on a hare. It's just crashes colliding with one another can get kind of dicey. So I typically like 2 or 3, but anyway,
and it depends on the cover too. Cause I like if you're hunting a lot of tall sage, it's the extra eyes help a whole lot, with the larger packs, more numbers,
that's the thing. Yeah. And like Spain and stuff where they hunt with the like Abesian hounds and stuff, they're running like 20 of those things on the ground at once. But it's because, it's the cottontail. They're hunting cottontails. And then also it's just brush and rocks everywhere. You just need the eyes everywhere.
Line of sight's like 6 feet,
Somebody will see the rabbit. You know what I mean? So a little different than our grass lines out here. Where I saw where you're running, I got very sad for you.
Yeah. It's better when there's snow everywhere, I promise.
I'll keep it nice. I was like, it's
better when
poor
there's
Chad.
Yeah.
Poor Chad.
It is what it is, man. You can't have everything.
Your numbers are awesome. Your density is beautiful. But poor Chad.
Yeah. Not the same. I agree.
Guys, this is a no-nonsense podcast. You guys know that. And I'm going to talk to you about Onyx, because I'm sitting in camp in New Mexico right now. I've never stepped foot on this ranch. And I've used onX so many times in the last 3 days. With their high definition maps, I can see mesas, I can see grasslands, I can see the canyons. I know where the critters ought to be living, and onX helps me find those spots and get to those spots. And it totally augments my tracking equipment. I could buy a map card for New Mexico, but this year alone, I've hunted Louisiana, Indiana, Kentucky, New Mexico. I didn't hunt in Colorado, but I was there. Montana, I've been in Montana. So you do the math on the map card, and when you buy onX at their elite price for around $100 a year, I get all of these maps that are right on my phone, extremely clear. Landowners are marked, state lands are marked. It's all right there. Check out onX at onxmaps.com and get with it, man. And at checkout, enter the promo code HXP20 and you will get 20% off of your onX subscription. Know where you stand with onX.
All right, Brad. Well, we're going to move on. We got our last segment here, and it's going to be quick. But we got our last segment. It's keep or cull. And I'm going to give you some real scenarios, and I want you to decide, would you keep it or would you cull it? Let's roll right into it.
All right.
Keep or cull. Okay. These are some written responses. These are some written here that I'm going to read these.
Some words.
Yeah, some words. Thank you. I'm trying to do too many things at once. All right. These are all with names removed to protect the innocent, because some of these are real serious questions, and we're going to see what Chad would do. Okay. And then I guess we'll throw in my worthless 2 cents where it can be applicable. All right. Here we go. Keep or cull? First question. Hi, HXP crew. I have a young dog that I'm starting on bears. He starts off strong, but he's got an open babbling mouth, and I'm not sure if he actually knows the bear is there or if he's barking to be excited. Sometimes when he gets on the track, he will push it well, but I think he's just moving with my other dogs. He is young, only 9 months old, and I think he has a good start ahead of him, but I'm just not sure if I should keep training hard or if he's not showing enough grit at his age. What would you do?
That is the time when hopefully you have like what I like to do with those dogs right there. They need to learn to act on their own, and I had a dog that started to get a little old. He was great at starting the tracks, fantastic at it, but he just didn't have the go anymore. And he'd get mad when the younger dogs would leave him behind. And sometimes he'd even come back to the truck. He'd get so upset about it. But what he was great for was putting him down with a dog like that, who would get him lined out, get him started. Say, yes, we're on a bear. Let's move it. Let's move it. They start closing the distance. The track's heating up, and then he starts to fade away. That veteran dog starts to burn out a little bit. And then that's when your young one can take the steering wheel and get ahead, and really show you what he's got. And I wouldn't just do that once or twice or even 3 times, but sometimes it takes that long. If a young dog that's a good dog, that you think could be a good dog, that is, if he always gets to rely on your showstopper, on your best thing, that's all he's going to do. He doesn't have to get better. He doesn't have to grind out that track and beat his face off all the rocks and just trying to produce it, because he doesn't need to. He's got all rebar to go, to follow behind, So
good old rebar.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't call him based off of that. He's a young dog. He's 9 months. I'm not the guy that's like, oh, well, you don't know what you got until this breed of dog gets 2 years old. I'm not waiting 2 years, buddy. However, you have to give that pup time to shine. You have to let him figure it out on his own a little bit. And if you don't give him the opportunity, you can't hold him accountable. So
you say keep,
and
I say keep
until you get some more data.
Yep. Keep with more experience and honest, real experience under its belt. That's kind of what I was thinking. A little young for what it's worth. I mean, if this was a sight hound, I would say just 9 months is very young. Let him run, let him hunt, get more data, exactly, and keep pushing. So that was a good one. Here's another one. This one's a little tougher. I actually thought about my answer for this one, so I'm going to put you right on the spot. All right, here we go.
Okay.
I raised a litter of two. Can't read. I raised a litter of 2 gyps. One sister is incredible. She can go out and tree her own game at 1.5 years old. She is doing amazing. However, The other sister tends to kind of be a Me Too dog, be a pack dog, and just hang out in the group in general. I lost my best dog to a car accident, and now my planned breeding has fallen through. Both of them come from stellar bloodlines. Would you consider breeding the other female, the one who is just average, based on her bloodline alone to the best male I could find? Or do I need to start from scratch and go and spend the next few years looking for another excellent bloodline and a high-performing female for an excellent stud dog? Or do you think I can go back to the good blood and have a good percentage of good puppies in this next litter?
All
Thanks
right.
for your response.
I got some opinions on that, but I got one question first. Because he said he had 2 sisters, right?
Yeah.
And one of them was starting and doing
good.
everything.
Yeah, one was good, one was bad. Well, not bad. One was good, one was average, it sounds like.
But he didn't
so
consider breeding the good one. All I
she
heard
died.
there was
She died.
Oh, she died. Because
That's
I
what he
heard
said. He
best
lost her in a
dog.
car accident. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right,
so,
I'm understanding.
So she died in a car. Sounds like probably got hit by a car, right? On a track.
Yeah.
And so he lost her, and now he's saying, can I breed the sister because the blood is there? They have a great bloodline apparently. And I'm assuming other dogs in the litter are hunting good because the bloodline is good. But would you breed that dog, Chad? Keep or call?
It all depends on one. We'll start with one. What are your circumstances? What can you do? You know, if you have some expendable money, then yeah, go buy something, you know. But if you don't quite, you know, and you got to make ends meet, and you got to have fun with your dogs and everything like that, I would test that dog a little more. It goes back to what we just got done talking about. You know, if that dog was just going along because it could rely on its sister, then it's not going to do what it doesn't need to do.
Yeah, they're a year and a half, so they're young still. Yeah,
they are. But even like, I want to know what a dog is before that. Personally, if I'm going to keep him, I would have already put him in a situation where it has to kind of shine on its own, you know, get it away from the good. Oh, that's really hard. When you see a track you're excited about, I want to grab my best dog, throw it on it, and get after it, you know. But like if you're doing right by your dogs, you're gonna put that best dog in the truck a little bit and let those young ones shine. Let them figure it out. Let them, you know, because if you don't do that, they won't become great dogs. In Chad's opinion, you will never get a great dog unless you give it time to be the only dog out there. And that's when they become a great dog. Not the only one, but the best dog on the ground at the time. So I personally, if I didn't have means to just go, you know, get some high-end stuff, I would hunt that dog a little bit more just to see. Maybe it is good. Maybe it's just as great as her sister. And now that she's out of the picture, she'll show you that. So try that for once. But if you try that and she does not become as good as her sister, a great dog, again, air quotes here, then no, I would not breed it. I am not a paper breeder. I am not a paper breeder. I am not. I think lines are important, and then that's where you start. But if that dog isn't good, its papers or its bloodline isn't good enough. Don't breed it. No. Breeding is so hard, even if you do everything right. Everybody thinks it's easy. Oh, that's a good dog. That's a good dog. Let's put them together. And then, you know, you get whatever. Breeding's so hard, but I like to breed the best I can get my stinking fingers on to the best I can get my fingers on. And that removes, to me, that removes as much of the confusion and complications as absolutely possible, you know? Yeah. And if you're just going, oh, well, this dog's sister and other were good, you know, like that's, you're gonna get yourself in trouble, you know? So it's too easy to just find another one, you know? But like I said, don't cut her out yet. Give her time to shine. Maybe she's a good one on her own. So
yeah, I feel like it's so funny in the Houndsman XP crew. I'm definitely the newest guy on the scene. Like you guys are freaking super, super experienced and been doing this for decades. And so I'm feeling good that the answer I came up with on my own was similar to what you and Chris would say, you know, but I agree with you fully. I do not believe in quote unquote bloodlines. I want to see, I was taught, Dean Bohannon told me the best dog in the kennel to the best dog in the kennel. Never forget good mouth. If this was in a sight hound scenario, you know, good mouth is key. I don't want a dog chases a rabbit. I want a dog that kills a rabbit. You know what I mean? So you know, anyway, so I don't care if the sister is amazing, the one that died, and the other one, give it a time. But if she doesn't come around, no, unfortunately, I think I would wait too. So I choose Cull. I choose situationally Cull, lean towards Cull, quote unquote. And say no. I would just look for a better female. There's many, many badass females in the block. You know,
That's right. All right, so I got one then. This is kind of funny. I had a dog named Black. He was a Plot Hound cross with like some Catahoula rolling around in there. You know, he's a hog dog. He was really good. Nice dog. Cold nose as far as hog dogs go. And would push a track, could bay one on his own, was pretty big, helped catch, stayed away from the front, would pull a back leg out, did a lot of things that I liked, you know, was one of my best dogs. But he, at some point in his life, this weird behavior developed where he would just back his butt up to his water bucket and crap in it. In his water bucket. Like, we have dogs that'll like pee in a bucket, and there's ways of getting around that. But I got to the point where like I would push his doghouse up against the wall of the kennel so that like he had to like slide in between the wall and his doghouse. I swear to God, Seth, he would walk up to it, turn around. I watched him do it.
Shimmy.
And he would back up like beep, 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 like straight back, drape his tail over top of the water bucket and drop a deuce in there. Sometimes he'd do it twice a day. Sometimes he did it twice a day one time, and it drove me absolutely crazy. So before we get to the question, you got any questions about this before?
No, I got all the supporting info I need.
Keep or call, buddy. What do you got?
I say keep. Put 2 water bowls in there and keep. You don't get a dang fine dog like that any day. I say keep. Tootsie Rolls in the food or in the water, whatever. Put another water bowl in there, and you keep hunting Black. You keep hunting him, son.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's funny.
What'd you do? You
called.
You called.
I did.
I
did. He had to go, man. He had to go.
What would you do, Houndsman XP community? Keep or call? Keep or call? I want to hear it in the comments.
I even got a set of like cutters and cut a hole in his kennel and put his water bucket on the outside of his kennel. Okay, so I clipped it to the outside. So in order to drink, he put his head through a hole. It wasn't tight, you know, it was a normal, you know, size of his head, and he'd stick his head through and drink, and he still did it. He pressed his butt up against the kennel and put through the hole into his water bucket. After that, I had to let him go, man. I had to let him go. And there was somebody that like fell on hard times and was trying to get their pack back together again. I was like,
I'll take that dog. Just you send him my way. I don't care, man. He can have his chocolate water. All right, he can have it.
Oh man, it was horrible. Pouring it out and get on your boots. Anyway.
Oh, that's hilarious. Thanks, Chad. That's all I got for now. I got a wrestling match evolving in my living room right now. But hey, as always, buddy, I thank you for joining me here. And you know, I if there's anything you need to add, now is a good time, brother.
No, I think we wrapped up. This is a nice one. I dig this one.
Yeah. Me too. I just wanted to give a quick shout out, you guys. This is a very sincere thing. Check out Freedom Hunters, you guys, freedomhunters.org. They're putting out American and Canadian veterans in the field to experience new things, you guys. Many of the hunters there, it was their first time hunting ever. And all of them, their first time behind dogs. So check them out, you guys. You can host your own Freedom Hunters events. Or if you're a veteran, consider joining one. And it was a Jim Shockey Classic, you guys. Jim Shockey puts on a golf tournament that raises money for these events. So if you're a golfer, go check it out. You're helping a great cause. And thank you, Jim Shockey, for just being an all-around awesome guy for our lifestyle. And yeah, I couldn't go check out our Patreon page, you guys. All the bonus material from Canada is there. It's one thing to hear my stories, but to have them combined with all the pictures and videos, I think it enhances the experience. And then I'll make sure to get some more bonus content. We have some behind the scenes stuff with me and Chris, HXP happenings. That's going to be news and behind the scenes for Houndsman XP itself.
Nice.
So instead of having the pre-roll up front, I just figured I'll end up with all the stuff I need to tell you guys. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all there at the Patreon page. And to all our sponsors, thank you so much for supporting us at Houndsman XP. And a huge shout out to all you listeners. This is why we do it, and we love it. And stay tuned, you guys. We're going to be on the road. There's going to be a lot of cool content coming up. HXP is on the road. We're always on the road. And we're going to make some cool stuff happen coming up very soon. So stay tuned. Chad, why don't you wrap us up, brother?
All right, brother. Let's hunt them hard and treat them like heroes.
There it is. Catch you all next month.